Hello everybody, Riker Richard here, reacting to the Toronto Raptors' victory tonight, 112-99 against the Detroit Pistons at home. Or maybe it was in the Detroit arena, but it certainly never feels like that because there's just so many fans that make their way over to watch the Detroit home games whenever the Raptors are in town. They basically drown out the home fans, or whatever's left of the home fans for the Detroit Pistons at this point. Franchise, it's off to a bit of a shaky start, let's say, the very least. Ben, not with us here tonight. He's in the exam grind mode. 2 left, and then the holiday season is upon us. So, Merry Christmas. Early Merry Christmas to everyone. But we're breaking down tonight's game. And I think the first theme of tonight, if you haven't checked it out yet, Ben and I, an issue of debate, a big issue of debate amongst Raptors fans, is the topic of Lowry and the trade rumors, of course, surrounding him, possible destinations, possible markets that are interested in him, and it's really black or white, hot or cold. People are polarly divided upon whether or not we should trade our franchise guy, Kyle Lowry. Well, we'll break down all that speculation in the last podcast that we made, but tonight Kyle Lowry made a point. Not extremely efficient from the field, 23%, but a triple-double, just to drive it home for anybody that's been doubting on him recently. Just to really show everyone what he's capable of doing in every aspect of the court out there in basketball games, albeit against a bit of a weaker Detroit Pistons team. But they do have 2 pretty lumbering big men. You might say that they have some defensive prowess, and Lowry was just able to get out there tonight, get it done, get 10 rebounds. I believe it was the 5th triple-double of his career, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 20 points. And pretty good efficiency from the 3-point tonight. So Kyle Lowry, like I said, everyone's wondering, is he going to be traded by the deadline? Would we be crazy to trade him? Is there a market there for him? What would we even possibly want to get back in his return? Or in packaging him up and shipping him to a different team. And a lot of these things are going to become more clear as the season progresses and as we do approach that trade deadline. But tonight is another good display with a limited lineup. Fred VanVleet obviously injured, and segue into our next piece to talk about with Marc Gasol going down with a right hamstring injury, leaving the rest of the game after, I think, 9 minutes played. He's really been our secondary facilitator and the guy that the offense runs through a lot. So with him out, we had to rely heavily on Lowry this game to really set up the offense, to create plays. And it's unfortunate. Hopefully the timeline is back or is short for Marc Gasol, because really he's not just a facilitator, and he's the guy that everybody knows. Everybody that's a fan of the Toronto Raptors knows that what his impact does not show up in the box score. What he provides to the Toronto Raptors is incredible defense and positioning. He is a leader for the Toronto Raptors. He is a playmaker in the high post, and he just does all the intangible things, like I said, that just don't show up in the box score. And he's been better recently in scoring the ball and being a little more aggressive, looking for a shot, taking threes, being a little more aggressive down the post. I'd still like to see him stray away from those fade jump hook / baby hooks in the post, especially when he's going up against smaller men, and especially in even just looking to attempt to put it back up on an offensive rebound. He never does that. He always passes out of the post. But he's been brilliant as of late. There's no denying, so it's rough to see him go down, and especially in a game like today, it looked like the Raptors might struggle with trying to play so small against the bigs that are Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. But of course, Blake Griffin coming off of a knee injury, and the rest of the Detroit Pistons just not that solid all around. So the Raptors were able to do the classic double team in the bigs, force them to swing it around, and the Pistons, traditionally a pretty good 3-point shooting team, just weren't able to connect with anybody. The rotations were pretty good defensively for the Raptors, but let's face it, the Pistons just missed a lot of shots tonight as well. Tonight we saw Norman Powell. He's been on a bit of a hot streak recently. It seems like every night this man is going up and snatching 20 points per game, being absolutely automatic from 3, just being an absolute scoring genius, truly deserving of the name Norm God. Tonight came back down to reality a little bit, but my God, he's been brilliant recently, and I expect that his reign of basketball fortune is going to continue because tonight we were able to get productivity from everyone. Like I said, Kyle Lowry already spoken about, Pascal Siakam, another good game, and he was really doing it all tonight. Second back-to-back game now, getting plus 10 three-pointers attempted, and he's just been looking clean out there. Clean, confident, and these are games that are especially good. I mentioned in the last game reaction podcast with Ben, this one, you take it with a grain of salt because Pascal Siakam is at his best when he's out running the fast break, because when it slows down into a half-court game, he likes to take those jab step three-pointers. He likes to size up what's going on in the court and then take his shot. He likes to take a couple dribbles in, and recently he's been doing sort of he fakes going into the post, then he backs out for a fadeaway, and then, of course, the classic sort of back down, then spin move in some capacity. He does a spin, and it seems a little bit different every time, but he's able to be confident in these shots when he's also able to get out on the fast break. That seems to spur on his confidence. And against a better team, a better defensive team, a top team in the East or the West, the Bucks, 76ers, the Heat, when the fast break was limited and it's exclusively or predominantly a half-court game and Pascal Siakam's shot is not going from the get-go, he's traditionally not been able to get out of that shooting slump. And in another game like tonight, he had a bit of a slow third quarter, but then he was able to turn things around. I'm waiting now for the next hard matchup that the Toronto Raptors have to see if there's limited fast break opportunities, can Pascal Siakam still get his offense rolling and still be as dominant as he displayed in nights such as tonight. And then finally, I mean, everybody, like I said, on the Toronto Raptors played extremely strong. But OG Anunoby, he went out there, guns blazing. I think he had it's Serge Ibaka too, 25 points, and OG 19 points, but he had some foul trouble, so he was restrained in this game from what he was able to do. But really, there was just a lot of good things that happened. The pace of the game was ridiculously fast. The Raptors were pushing the ball at all costs, and this is a fun one to watch. Had it not been for what I'm going to reserve for the OGs segment. But otherwise, like I said, if it wasn't such a choppy game, it really would have been quite a fun game to watch because really the offense was rolling. There was good flashes of defense, really good rotations. Nick Nurse played a tighter lineup tonight, and he had some good production from the bench as well. And then Serge Ibaka, he has been coming back into form slowly and surely, and tonight he broke out for what we've come to consider a typical Serge performance, especially without Marc Gasol. He is going to be the number one big that we're going to be looking at, secondary to Pascal Siakam, obviously. Although with the amount of threes that Siakam's been getting up recently, there's a good argument to say that you might even consider Pascal Siakam to be a bit of even a small forward. You could consider him a hyper-stretch defender small forward if you want to make some sort of weird new title, new position. Anyways, let's swing it into the segments. Tonight, the only, I don't remember how Ben introduces these things, the spicy Pele of the day. And tonight, everybody knows that listens to the Toronto Raptors that my favorite player right now, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. I was worried that because he didn't play in the last game that something was up. Maybe an attitude issue, something behind the scenes. I don't have the name in front of me right now, but let me pull it up. Somebody politely informed me via Instagram. I can't say the name on the air. But anyways, I was informed that it was some sort of minor injury, so we saw the return of Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. He came out doing classic things, hustling, got a steal on Andre Drummond, I believe, or Blake Griffin. Kyle Lowry throws the pass out to him, and quick look behind the shoulder. Flash second, you might have even missed it, and he saw Pascal Siakam sprinting, open down the lane, dumps it, almost a behind-the-back pass for a clean dunk. And that Hollis-Jefferson to Pascal Siakam, that definitely gets the spicy Pele, but not all plays can be the spicy Pele. And some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight's oh, geez moment, there's a bunch. Let's say that much. There is a bunch. One, Terrence Davis absolutely got demolished by Andre Drummond on a dunk attempt. And it's one thing to be frustrated at the refs when they miss calls that are somewhat obvious, but in a situation like this, it's really unacceptable to not call this one as a referee, especially because a player of his height, that high up in the air, and that much contact, completely pushing him, he's not going to fall with proper form. He's not going to fall the way that he's suspecting, and there is a high likelihood of injury or the possibility of injury on this type of play. The refs, they're not doing their jobs if they're not calling a foul on this type of play. It's just dangerous, and you need to protect the athletes because, like I said, when they're that high in the air, they need to have a safe, protected space where they can land properly and not mess up something. And we know too well how serious these types of injuries can be. If we look at Paul George or Derrick Rose or Jeremy Lin, I'm sure there's countless others. So that really should not have been a missed call, and I was disappointed that they let so much contact happen on a dunk attempt nonetheless. But there was other things that made me say, oh geez. Like I recently alluded to, it was a fast-paced game, but it felt like you were watching a football match tonight because there were so many stoppages of play, 6 or 7 technical fouls called, a foul every other whistle. Let the boys play. Basketball is not about calling every little detail. It's about flow. It's about pace, excitement, up and down the court, defense, offense, right? When it starts getting every 1 minute, every 24 seconds, it just breaks up the play so much it becomes boring, redundant, because the weight is not in one possession. It's in the stretches, right? The ups and downs of basketball. So it really just becomes this uninteresting when you start blowing the whistle so much. And like I said, countless other OGs. Derrick Rose taking a couple chops to the face. Marc Gasol getting injured. There was a lot of moments that made me say, oh geez, tonight. But the one, the only, the DeMarre Carroll Gold Star Award for worst performance. You could say it goes to Dwayne Casey because ever since his comments about the Toronto Raptors and his bitterness about his departure and saying that they're not the championship pedigree, etc., he hasn't been able to really make any impact against the Toronto Raptors in coaching the Detroit Pistons. But there's no salt in the wound at this point. There's no bad blood. All the love to Dwayne Casey. So tonight instead has to go. I don't know if anybody saw the halftime performance. It was a bunch of kids. You can't roast them too hard, but you come to expect good dance performances, especially from the youngins, because they are just fast. It's like you're watching when you go skiing. The best skiers out on the hill are 6-year-olds, 4-year-olds. And that's come the norm that they just have this crazy athletic ability. Tonight, whoever they picked for the halftime dance routine, they stunk. They sucked. It was boring. It was slow. It was not a fun dance performance at all. I don't even care for dance, but I was watching it thinking this is not good. So that gets the Gold Star Award. But again, I can't be. I sound mean being so critical against kids. So that's it. Anyways, if you made it this far, check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that good stuff. Like, comment, let us know what you think. Christmas is coming up, the Christmas game against the Boston Celtics. That should be extremely exciting. And I imagine everybody is getting ready for the break now, concluding work or maybe taking a day or two of holidays, such as myself. It's exciting times ahead. Friends, family, drinks, food, presents, fun, all that good stuff. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Cheers.